Let's go Eagles! The buzz in Philadelphia is electrifying as we edge closer to the NFL draft, and there's a lot happening behind the scenes that every true Eagles fan needs to hear. The Eagles are on a mission. A Super Bowl is the target, and for that, Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman know it takes more than just grit. It takes smart roster moves. I've got some big-time updates to share with you, but before we dive into it, if you've been riding with the Eagles for more than 20 years, hit that like button right now. It's always incredible to see fans from every generation bleeding green. And hey, if you're really one of us, drop a comment that says, "Go Eagles! My heart bleeds green and white." So let's jump right into the thick of it. One of the biggest stories rocking the fan base right now is the extension of Cam Jurgens. Philadelphia pulled off a masterclass in timing, locking in their young center to a 4-year, $68 million extension. That makes Jurgens the second highest paid center in the NFL, and honestly, he deserves every penny. Not only did he step into Jason Kelce's legendary shoes, but he excelled in 2024 despite pushing through a rough back injury all the way to a Super Bowl win. It's moves like this that showcase Howie Roseman's brilliance. Extending Jurgens early saved the team money long-term and instantly created $3 million in cap space this year. That's right, more flexibility heading into the draft and potential trades. But let's be clear, this isn't just about Jurgens. This is a move that's part of a much bigger picture. Philadelphia's front office is being strategic. Adam Schefter even dropped a nugget recently that suggests the Eagles are looking to use that cap space not to move up in round one, but possibly to land a veteran player via trade. That said, don't expect a splash like Buda Baker. That's not happening. He just signed a fresh extension with Arizona. Instead, a name that keeps making sense is tight end Michael Mayer. Young, cheap, and talented, he fits the Eagles' mold if they decide not to draft a tight end. But let's talk defense. Specifically, defensive tackle Walter Nolan. Reports say Nolan made a top 30 visit to Philadelphia, but get this, no one outside of Adam Kaplan had that info. That kind of secrecy screams real interest. Nolan's stats are mind-blowing. Since 2018, very few DTs have achieved a 10% or better run stop and pass rush win rate. Names like Vita Vea, Jeffrey Simmons, Jalen Carter, and now Walter Nolan. The guy is a beast, and the fit, perfect. Vic Fangio's defense thrives with a strong four-man front, and adding Nolan to a line that already features Jalen Carter, offensive lines won't know who to double-team. With Milton Williams also showing out last year, this defensive line could be downright scary. Now I hear you, some fans are shouting, focus on the secondary. And sure, I get it. But here's the thing, building through the trenches has always been a Philly mantra. If the front is elite, it masks issues in the back end. Plus, Nolan has some maturity red flags, frustration during practice, walking off mid-session. But doesn't that remind you of someone else? Jalen Carter faced the same pre-draft scrutiny, and look at him now. A leader, a star. The culture in Philadelphia is built to turn boys into men. And Big Dom, the man Howie calls the best in all of sports at vetting character, starts that evaluation process. If Dom signs off, you can trust it's solid. On the draft board, the Eagles are loaded with picks, 12 next year alone, and that gives Howie major ammo to move up if needed. Remember, last year Kansas City moved up from 32 to 28 with just a third-rounder. Philly can absolutely do that, maybe even aim higher. Swapping firsts, throwing in a third this year, maybe another in 2026, it's doable. And let's not ignore Maxwell Hairston. He's a cornerback who visited Philly on a top 30 and will be in the green room on draft night. Players only show up if they're getting buzz. Could be another sneaky round one target. Meanwhile, let's clear the smoke around the A.J. Brown trade rumors. That whole thing started with a single vague tweet from Howard Eskin and spiraled thanks to radio stations under the same parent company. Zero credible insiders, not Schefter, not Rappaport, are saying there's truth to that. Just noise to drive clicks. Same with that Adam Thielen trade chatter. Sounds familiar because it always pops up at trade deadlines. But with players like Jahan Dotson and new addition Terrace Marshall Jr., the Birds don't need an aging WR like Thielen. And speaking of Jalen Hurts, this man is laser-focused. His latest workout video shows him grinding at 4:43 a.m. That's championship mindset. MVP, Super Bowl champion, and he's still outworking everyone. That's the energy that sets the tone for this entire roster. So with all the rumors swirling, the cap moves, and possible draft strategies coming into focus, the Eagles are setting themselves up for a major play. The foundation is strong. The vision is clear. But now I want to know from you, what do you think is the smartest move the Eagles can make in round one? Should we go all in on Walter Nolan? Or is it time to address the secondary with a guy like Hairston? Let me know in the comments. Let's keep this rolling, because we're just getting into the heart of what's shaping up to be a defining moment for the Philadelphia Eagles heading into the 2025 season. With the draft just days away, the strategy behind Howie Roseman's moves is becoming clearer, and Eagles fans, there's a lot more at play than just adding talent. This is about reloading a Super Bowl caliber roster while ensuring long-term sustainability and dominance in the NFC. Now let's break down why trading up for Walter Nolan might actually be the cornerstone of this entire draft strategy. The comparison to Jalen Carter isn't just narrative fluff, it's a legitimate parallel. Carter came into the league with off-field question marks, and what did the Eagles do? They dropped him into a locker room full of veterans, loaded with leadership, and gave him structure. He's now one of the most feared young defenders in the league. Walter Nolan could follow that same path. You pair Nolan with Carter, Milton Williams, and Jordan Davis, that's a defensive front that not only dominates but stays young and under contract for years. Vic Fangio's scheme demands pressure without blitzing. It thrives when the front four can get home, allowing the secondary to play zone, bait quarterbacks, and create turnovers. That's why adding another elite pass rusher in the interior isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. If you don't have to blitz to generate heat, you can mask holes in the back end and make quarterbacks uncomfortable all game. And remember, with the departure of Fletcher Cox, there's a leadership and production gap that needs to be filled. Nolan has the tools. The question is, will Philly make the move? Let's talk logistics. Trading up isn't as expensive as fans think. If the Eagles are sitting at 32 and want to get up to, say, the early 20s, it might cost them a third this year and a future mid-round pick. That's absolutely within reason. With a war chest of picks in 2025, Howie has the flexibility to make it happen. This team has made 19 trades over the past 3 drafts. Moving up is the norm, not the exception. Of course, this draft isn't just about one player or position. If the Eagles stay put or move slightly, defensive back is a real option. Maxwell Hairston, who's confirmed to be attending night 1 of the draft in person, might be more than just a visitor. Players don't show up unless they've been told they're going early. The Eagles need help in the secondary, especially at cornerback. Darius Slay isn't getting any younger, and James Bradbury's future is uncertain. Hairston could come in and contribute immediately. The Birds have done this before. Remember when they grabbed DeVonta Smith after moving up? If the board falls the right way, expect action. And let's not forget the rest of the rumors flying around. The media circus around A.J. Brown was pure smoke, manufactured chaos. No credible reporter backed it up. It was a radio station-driven cycle that tried to create drama where there is none. A.J. is here. He's locked in. He's not going anywhere. The Eagles don't need to stir the pot when they're this close to building something special. And as we creep closer to draft night, the options remain wide open. A big trade up for a defensive star like Walter Nolan? Very possible. Sitting tight and grabbing a stud like Hairston to shore up the secondary? Totally on the table. Even a surprise move, maybe a tight end like Michael Mayer, could still happen depending on how the board falls. The Eagles have positioned themselves perfectly. They have flexibility, depth, and leadership, all of which are crucial for making the right move. But now it's your turn. With everything we've laid out, from Jurgens' extension to the draft day strategy to the Nolan rumors, what do you think is the most important priority for the Eagles this week? Are we trading up for that defensive tackle to pair with Jalen Carter? Or are we solidifying the back end with a top-tier corner? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you made it to the end, and make sure you're subscribed because we've got videos on the screen right now diving deeper into our draft board and the full off-season breakdown. Go check those out, and as always, go Birds!